And the government continues to grapple with the issue of insecurity in the northern parts of Kenya, with bandits defying security personnel to wreak havoc for families there. The situation seems to be getting worse, with police officers and civilians getting caught in the crossfire of the marauding bandits. Brenda Wanga reports on the volatile situation and why the country's security apparatus have not succeeded in subduing the criminals in the north.
Incidents of insecurity are synonymous with the country's north, with residents of Turkana, Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet counties bearing the brunt of the cyclic cases of banditry that often leave a trail of death, destruction and loss of property. Each attack sparks action from the government, but this has not served to eradicate the vice. Former Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembeya attributes this to a number of factors, key amongst them how security personnel there are resourced.
Hao maafisa wetu ambao naona wanapigwa marisasi na kukufa, hakuna hata mmoja anapewa allowance. Ile mshahara ambayo yule officer anapata hapo kule Kabedo, yule mshahara ambayo askari amesimama Bangata kwa traffic anapata. There's no incentive whatsoever.
Indeed, the former regional security chief says the situation is so dire for the security personnel that they are often compromised.
Hata chakula kule inafika mahali askari wanafanya unholy alliance na majangili, wapeane risasi ili wapewe mbuzi wa kule.
But it just isn't matters of security officers and the lack of motivation and incentive that makes this security issue a tough nut to crack. Security analysts also blame the government for lacking an effective strategy when it comes to its intervention in the banditry-prone areas.
At any time we have an insecurity situation in Turkana and West Pokot, the government will always rely on old, tried and tired tactics of security operations. We've had operations there, we've had Operation Nyundo that achieved nothing, and now every other time we are bringing in new teams.
Contend that the presence of the armed security personnel on the ground may prove to be detrimental, especially if the officers are not familiar with the terrain and the people's ways of life, which makes it that much harder to effectively police the area and handle the battle-hardened elements therein.
Let us now change from using only the military and the police in fighting banditry, but also come up with other measures. For example, let us open up the area, let us build accessible roads, let us build schools, let us start irrigation schemes in these areas, and that's also at the same time let us engage the people.
But perhaps the hardest piece of the insecurity puzzle lies in the faces behind the banditry. The driving force behind most of the attacks is cattle rustling, a lucrative business that is believed to be funded by powerful shadowy figures that have ensured that the rustlers are well armed with guns and bullets. Lack of political will has also been blamed for the inability to flush out and deal with the financiers of the attacks, despite efforts by successive governments. The country's latest cabinet secretary for Interior is now having a go at dismantling this insecurity problem. Whether he succeeds where others have failed is a question that only time will answer. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.